In a viral clip, after she made a foul play, Griner...
Have you ever witnessed a moment so jaw-dropping it shattered everything you thought you knew? What happens when a superstar says something so wild it sets the internet on fire and leaves fans questioning the very foundation of the game? Brittney Griner, basketball powerhouse and magnet for controversy, just lit the fuse with one unexpected line: "I'm a grown man." And just like that, the internet exploded. The reaction? Total chaos, unfiltered, unstoppable.
Something rather controversial. It might be, though we don't know, trash and possible.
The viral moment came during a fiery matchup with Caitlin Clark, the rookie sensation who's been breaking attendance records and dragging the WNBA into the spotlight. Brittney Griner locked eyes, her jaw clenched, and in that charged instant, she dropped the line that sent shockwaves through the internet. That one sentence, "I'm a grown man," tore through X and Instagram like wildfire. Suddenly, lip readers were zooming in, algorithms were spinning, and debates erupted everywhere, from gender identity to competitive integrity. One moment, endless controversy.
Fucking white girl. Others have suggested it might be trash and fucking white.
This wasn't just some petty trash talk or harmless locker room joke. This was a seismic jolt to the culture of sports. When Instagram's own algorithm failed to censor an old topless post from Brittney Griner's account, fans started asking questions. Why did the platform's AI treat it like it was a male body? That one oversight lit a match. Suddenly, timelines were flooded with wild speculation. Whispers of testosterone treatments, intersex conditions, or secret identity changes began circulating like wildfire. What started as a viral clip had now cracked open an entirely new conversation.
We don't know what she's mouthing, but she seems to, have a mouth on her.
Now fans, analysts, and even rival players are demanding answers. Did the WNBA knowingly allow someone with potential male physiological traits to dominate in a women's league? Or is this just the latest twist in Brittney Griner's roller coaster of a career, one marked by triumph, controversy, and unapologetic boldness? It all sparked from what should have been a routine foul. Griner, towering at 6 feet 9 inches, pushed back hard, both physically and emotionally, against a call that clearly struck a nerve. Her stare pierced through the noise of the arena, and then came the line that shook the internet: "I'm a grown man." Was it just heat of the moment swagger, a mental slip, or something deeper, a subtle confession that no one saw coming? Within minutes, the video was everywhere. Fans broke down every frame, every expression, convinced they had stumbled onto something bigger. Social media lit up, memes exploded, podcasts churned out full episodes, and late-night comedians rushed to write jokes. Grown man had suddenly become both a meme and a movement, dividing public opinion straight down the middle. Some applauded her confidence, others accused her of fraud. But one thing was certain, no one was ignoring it. Behind all the noise is a much bigger and messier conversation about biology and fairness in sports. Athletic bodies don't always fit neatly into binary categories. Some individuals with intersex traits naturally produce more testosterone. Others have unique muscle compositions that blur gender lines. Trans athletes often undergo hormone therapy to comply with league rules and align with their identity. But in Brittney Griner's case, there's no official record of such treatment, no public statements, no paperwork. Her past has been carefully guarded with no indication of a medical transition, and so the questions keep swirling.
Right now you have 10 points, 5 rebounds. We see the Atlanta Dream as being very... Right now she's talking.
Then came the resurfaced Instagram story. In a clip that's been publicly viewable for over 2 years, Brittney Griner appeared shirtless, completely uncensored. What's shocking isn't just the image, but the fact that Instagram's AI, which usually blurs or flags female nudity, did absolutely nothing. Why? Because the system seemingly registered Griner's body as male. This isn't some random tech glitch. It's a massive red flag waving in the face of a sports world still trying to figure out how to juggle inclusivity with fair play. The WNBA has strict hormone level regulations for transgender athletes, but there's a glaring silence in the rule book when it comes to intersex athletes. If someone's natural hormone levels surpass the accepted threshold, the league can require medical intervention or even deny them the right to play. But in this case, no investigation, no comment, just radio silence. That silence is getting louder. Team owners, sponsors, and fellow players are all starting to ask the same tough questions. What what if Griner was biologically male at birth and raised as female? That theory alone could detonate the league's credibility. Another possibility? An intersex condition that may have naturally enhanced her strength and physical traits, like muscle mass or bone density. And the most controversial of all, the idea that Griner may have quietly undergone testosterone therapy with no public record, no league acknowledgement, and no fan awareness. No matter which angle you explore, each theory cracks the foundation of what we think we know about competition, fairness, and transparency. And it's clear, the WNBA can't afford to stay quiet much longer.
About holding.
The foundation of women's sports rests on one crucial principle: fairness. Fans want to believe that the game is honest, that victories are earned, not skewed by hidden physical advantages. So if the WNBA knowingly or unknowingly allowed someone with male biological traits to compete without disclosure, then every stat, every award, and every inspirational storyline could suddenly feel tainted. This isn't just about one player, it's about trust in the system. Brittney Griner has been no stranger to controversy. Her arrest and imprisonment in Russia, the dramatic prisoner swap that brought her home, and the challenges of reintegrating into American life all painted her as both a symbol of resilience and a lightning rod for criticism. Depending on who you ask, she's either a trailblazer or a walking contradiction. Now, people online are demanding the truth. Some are calling for a full investigation, hormone panels, genetic tests, transparency across the board. Others are urging caution, warning that digging too deep could cross ethical lines, violate bodily privacy, and open the door to discrimination. This moment is more than a headline. It's a collision between the push for equality and the need for respect. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark's rise has thrown gasoline on the fire. Her arrival has transformed the WNBA. Ticket prices for Indiana Fever games surged, only to plummet when she missed time with an injury. Her star power filled arenas that once echoed with empty seats. In that light, Griner's complaints about the noise levels at Clark's games sound less like concern and more like resentment, as if the cheers now directed at Clark are drowning out the echoes of Griner's once dominant legacy. The tension between past and present, between policy and personal identity, is building fast, and the league can't afford to ignore it.
Back to you guys.
Very important questions there, I'm sure, for Brittney.
Patrick Bet David, never one to hold back his opinions, ripped into Brittney Griner on his podcast with his trademark mix of sarcasm and sharp criticism. He didn't mince words, pointing out the staggering irony that Griner, who was once locked in a Russian prison while the US traded away an arms dealer to bring her home, is now complaining about noisy fans. That contrast hit hard, and the digs didn't stop there. He brought up her infamous comment about being able to get work done courtside during games, using it as a symbol of just how irrelevant the WNBA once felt, where the silence of empty arenas mirrored the league's struggle for visibility. But that era, it's gone. Caitlin Clark came in like a wrecking ball, bringing record-breaking ratings, sponsorship deals, and headlines across the globe. But instead of celebrating the newfound energy, Griner seems to be resisting the very momentum she helped spark. Then came the racial undertones. Griner hinted that the overwhelmingly white support at Clark's games had a tinge of racism, a comment that peeled back long-standing tensions within the league. For years, black players have dominated on the court but rarely received the kind of media adoration Clark now enjoys. Griner's words weren't just commentary, they were a flare signaling deeper frustrations about race, recognition, and shifting fan loyalty. But here's the thing, resentment in sports is nothing new. Michael Jordan faced it when Detroit created the Jordan rules just to stop him. Serena Williams endured it for decades while carving out greatness. Rivalries thrive when greatness arrives, and Clark's stardom naturally draws fire. Still, Griner's response reveals more than rivalry. It shows an inner conflict between her pride as an athlete and the uncomfortable spotlight she now shares. In leagues like the NBA, NFL, and MLB, hostile environments are part of the job. Booing, jeering, wild chants. It's all fuel for the fire. So when Griner suggested the fans were too loud, it came off not as concern, but as entitlement. Let's be real, pro athletes are paid to perform under pressure. Fans pay to make noise. A roaring arena isn't an attack, it's proof the world's finally watching. And if Griner's truly confident in her game, she'll let her performance speak louder than the crowd.
She's that confident in her abilities. But, it's also a little delusional.
So where exactly does the WNBA go from here? League officials now face an incredibly delicate balancing act, protecting players' right to privacy while also maintaining the integrity of fair play. One option? Enforce mandatory hormone testing across the board. But that opens the door to massive backlash, lawsuits, and accusations of body policing. On the flip side, they could launch a focused investigation into Brittney Griner's eligibility, something that might calm critics but would likely spark outrage within the athlete community, shattering trust in the league's leadership. This controversy is starting to cast a long shadow over everything. Major sponsors and broadcast networks are already watching closely. What some see as a PR nightmare, others see as a ratings goldmine. Still, no one can predict how this storm will affect next season's television deals, or whether corporate partners will stand by, pull out, or demand answers. And what about the players? Tensions are quietly rising behind the scenes. Some are calling for complete transparency, saying if Griner did have an undisclosed biological edge, every teammate and opponent deserves to know. They fear being seen as complicit or misled, but others are pushing back just as hard, warning that digging too deep into an athlete's personal and medical history crosses serious ethical lines. It's a high-stakes standoff, with the entire future of the league hanging in the balance.
Like the confidence, BG, but I don't know if that's gonna happen. It's not a walk.
Public opinion is in full meltdown mode, split right down the middle. On one side, supporters defend Brittney Griner's right to define her identity. On the other, critics argue that any biological advantage, perceived or real, undermines the fairness of women's sports. Social media, it's a battlefield. Polls rack up millions of votes. Hashtags wage war across timelines. Emotional pleas clash with sarcastic memes, and trolls swarm every thread. Yet through all the noise, the WNBA itself remains eerily quiet. That silence, it's growing louder by the day. But this controversy goes far beyond just one athlete. It's become a full-blown test of the league's values, fairness, inclusion, and competitive integrity. It's pushing everyone, from players to fans, to confront uncomfortable questions about gender, biology, and what it truly means to compete in women's sports today. The viral video didn't end the drama. It sparked a tidal wave. It crashed into team meetings, boardrooms, and everyday conversations from coast to coast. Everyone suddenly had an opinion, legal theories, ethical takes, conspiracy threads, and at the center of it all stood Griner, unflinching, defiant, and locked in a firestorm the league never saw coming. Handling a flagrant foul on the court is one thing. Navigating an identity crisis with global implications, that's a whole different game. Comments poured in by the thousands on every major sports platform. Protect the girls, shouted one side. Defend the truth, barked the other. And that one viral phrase, grown man, became a lightning rod. To some, it screamed deception. To others, it was a symbol of raw confidence. Even major news outlets couldn't resist. Coverage walked the tightrope between genuine concern and shameless clickbait. Because in today's world, controversy fuels clicks. And Griner's moment was pure rocket fuel, too powerful to ignore, too volatile to contain.
The park over here.
She says you'd be no better than the third best post player on the men's team.
Inside the WNBA headquarters, the mood turned frantic. Executives scrambled, drafting press releases, reviewing legal memos, and calling emergency meetings. This wasn't some online rumor spiraling out of control. This was a real crisis, centered around gender verification, and it hit the league at its most vulnerable point. For years, the WNBA had taken pride in its inclusive policies, but now those very values felt like a tightrope. How do you protect fairness on the court while standing firm on inclusion off of it? That question hung in the air, gnawing at every league official who knew the answer would define the WNBA's legacy moving forward. Meanwhile, sponsors didn't blink. They monitored everything like hawks. Some pulled back their ad dollars, hoping to avoid getting swept into the controversy. Others saw a golden opportunity. Scandal drives clicks, headlines, and engagement, especially when it touches the red-hot topic of gender and fairness in sports. A few even prepped social media campaigns ahead of time, ready to declare support for Brittney Griner if the investigation cleared her name. They never published those posts, but the fact that brand managers were strategizing like team owners told you just how high the stakes were. Inside the locker rooms, emotions ran high. Some teammates stood by Griner without hesitation, saying they never saw anything unusual. Her physique was just a product of elite-level training. Others privately admitted they'd always found something off, but assumed it was nothing serious. A few players weren't willing to stay silent. They called for full transparency. If Griner's biological makeup crossed any league-defined thresholds, they felt they had a right to know before stepping on the court with or against her. Suddenly, team chemistry began to crack under the pressure. A league built on trust and sisterhood now faced tension, doubt, and whispered questions. Even Caitlin Clark, who had nothing to do with the rumors, got pulled into the storm. Her rapid rise to stardom, shattering records, and dominating headlines made her a convenient target. Trolls accused her success of breeding resentment and stirring controversy. Just a rookie, Clark found herself carrying the emotional weight of an entire generation's frustrations, but she stayed cool, calm, collected. Her response? A short, classy statement posted online. "I love this game and everyone who plays it. Let's keep the focus on basketball." It was a call for unity, for peace, for the spotlight to return to the sport. But in the noisy chaos of social media, even her measured words were drowned out.
I'm just gonna use that to fuel this. I mean, I'm better, but and I know that kind of.
If you've made it this far, you already know we're just scratching the surface. The WNBA's path to transparency and fairness is still unfolding, and every step forward will be influenced by players, fans, and everyone bold enough to speak up. So don't sit on the sidelines. Get involved. Ask the tough questions. Demand honesty. And most importantly, stand by the sport that's captured your heart. If this breakdown gave you a new perspective, make sure to hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and share your thoughts in the comments below. We want to hear where you stand on Brittney Griner's situation and what you believe the future holds for gender policy in pro sports. Your voice matters, because in this game, every shot counts, and every opinion has the power to shift the conversation.